First item is the adoption of the meeting agenda. We'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, approval of previous meeting minutes. David has passed those out, whenever you've had a chance to review those. They're not real long. We'll entertain a motion to approve them.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, public input. Got a crowd tonight. Michael, go ahead.
For the ones who don't know me, my name's Michael Kane with Kane's Wildlife Removal. I believe it was last year, I spoke with Randy about some coyotes out at the airport. A lot of people know, a lot of people don't know, but we are doing 2 shows at Kane's Wildlife Removal. We are doing a documentary on coyotes. And then we're approached, we're actually doing a reality show, just like would be like a duck bounty, okay? It's gonna be filming all summer long. It's gonna be, you know, it's a big deal for me and my family. But I wanna incorporate Pickens into this. I went to the city, you know, parks and, you know, the parks and stuff is actually a good place for coyotes. Didn't get any cooperation there very good, but I still want to shoot a lot in Pickens. So what's the best place to do it? The airport's a lot of property. I don't know if you're still having trouble with coyotes out there, but, you know, they're there. I mean, they're there. It's just, you may not be having the issues you was having a year ago. So, you know, I'm coming to you and asking permission for me and my film crew to come and eradicate them.
Randy, you good with that?
Yes, I'm excellent with that.
May I ask a question? Getting the hours, because I don't want him out there with planes coming in.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what operational hours and what egress do you need onto the airport?
I just need access to the outside perimeter. Randy actually showed me that. You know, I just didn't have time to do the job, you know, back when we rode the airport. I just have to check my traps every 24 hours. That's Georgia state law, can't get around.
So you're trapping and not shooting, so.
That's right. Well, I mean, you know, I will keep the coyotes alive.
I don't care what you do with them afterwards, it's just.
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. But yeah, it is state law. I am a nuisance wildlife control operator. I'm licensed by the DNR. I'm an agent of the DNR. So I can discharge a firearm anywhere in the state of Georgia. I'm mandated to carry a firearm. So, but we won't do that there. It just looks bad, you know.
Well, I'm not worried about the looks of it, I'm worried about the safety for the airplanes and
That's right.
the people there, so.
Yeah, we'll just remove them alive, put them in my truck, you know, take them to a dispatch location.
Get with me, we'll set up times and we'll walk the perimeter and I'll say the gate, I'll give you the key to the north gate. It's in the same place we're having them on the west side of the taxiway up towards that new house down on the south end.
Okay.
You gotta talk to the owner of that house on the south end as well.
We'll stay out of their way.
And if you need help, I'll put you in touch with them over there, at least the agent on the southwest side. But yeah, you should be able to trap right there on the edge of their property as well and have pretty good success. So.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions or comments or anything? Look, it's just good for Pickens. I mean, you know, I'm trying to get the hometown involved, you know what I mean? You know, I don't want to go to Canton Airport, or this is where I live, so this is, you know, it'll be good for you.
All right, well, I don't think that requires formal approval from the authority, but we do appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, any other public input? All right, committee and authority members' reports.
Ed, start with the financials. I've just passed out the last 2 months' financials for you guys to have a look at. Just a copy for you if you want it here. And so far, we're operating pretty well on the budget side of things. If you look at the period ending March 31st. We are 25% through the year. And if you look at the revenue side of things, you'll see several of those numbers are well above the revenue percentage. We're down on jet fuel. Randy will probably talk to that as we go forward here. And we're down on aviation fuel as well. We've had some bad flying months, being one of the larger customers on the aviation fuel side on the avgas. You know, my personal purchases have been down quite a bit simply because we couldn't fly. And that's changed. We've got good weather now, and I think the gas pumps were pretty busy this last few days of the month here. On the revenue, on the expenditure side, there's a couple of areas that jump out at me. Repairs and maintenance, that's coming in from what, Randy, on the
Rotating beacon reimbursement, as soon as it drops, we'll balance back out.
back in line there. And then we're, insurance is a little above the budget side, as well as some of the oil purchase, which is a resale item. So
Yeah.
if we could be 3,000% over on that purchase side, we'd be better off, because it means we sold it and made the revenue side of that. So overall, I think we're in line with where the budget needs to be at this point in the year. Any questions or comments? Very good.
All right, thank you, Ed. Anything else? Randy?
Like Ed said, we had some bad flying weather in February. March picked up a little bit, but April is really taking off. We are almost, in the first 10 days of the month, we've sold over half what we sold for the month of March. So it's picked up quite a bit. Air Methods did in fact have a banner month, 730 gallons for the last month, which helped a lot. And it's picked up quite a bit. So if you'll notice on the bottom left corner of the April, you'll see that 100 low lead is down to about 2,000 gallons. There'll be a buy purchase before the end of this month. We're averaging over 100 and something gallons a day now. We have an aerial surveyor working the area, and he's buying like 92 gallons at a pop every day. So purchase price is a little on the pricey side, but it's going to have to be done. So look for a 100 low lead fuel purchase before the end of this month, probably around 7,700 gallons, and it'll be around $26,000 change. We order enough oil. Like I say, you see the oil revenue is a little bit on the high expenditure, but we've got plenty of oil on hand to recoup that plus, and we're in a good profit margin on our oil. Just now that more people can fly, they'll be doing more oil changes, and our oil sales will pick up definitely for April and May. A lot of annuals coming up due. We've added 3 more airframes to the field for $40 a month tie-down fee, and we're kind of running low on spots. So we have about 4 more we can rent out, and then hopefully we'll get some more tie-downs down the road. Everything else is picking up. We're getting new fuel hose this month, and our fuel filtered inspections from Perry Brothers. We're adding a 15-foot length so we can refuel our jet fuel truck a little safer. And our fireballs still haven't gotten back from Joe Painter. We've got the temporary balls from the fire maintenance company, but they'll swap them out when they finish the inspection. Other than that, everything's flowing.
Randy, when I landed yesterday, it looked like the winds shredded our windsock out there, and it's in pretty darn bad shape.
Thank you for that segue. I just got a brand new windsock this morning from Perry Brothers. We'll put it up in the morning. And after my briefing, we may have some good news about a bigger, taller, better windsock in the future. That's what I have. Any questions?
Was that our segue into our engineer?
I do believe it was.
He winked at me, yes. And actually, I'll talk about that right away. So if you remember the beacon, right, you had issues with beacon. So you, rather than waiting for a grant, you fronted that, you'll get reimbursed 90%. You sacrificed the 5% DOT match. Wind cone, we have put several of those in recently. They're LED lit from the inside. They're really nice looking. You had an inspection. There were some references to that thing. So That price, because of the cabling out there and everything, is more likely to fall like a 10 to 14, maybe $1,000 range, just all new. That's also reimbursable at 90% if you want to pursue that. So what we did on the beacon, if you remember, is authority approved pursuing that and getting information. So we could do that, get prices, check with DOT, check with Rob as far as whether the county could front that as well and get reimbursed. If you did that now, you'd be reimbursed at the same time you did the beacon. So that's not saying the county's okay with it, it's not saying you're accepting of whatever price you get, but that is something we can pursue, bring back information, and just like the beacon, if it's this something you wanted to ultimately pull the trigger on, price is likely gonna be $1,000 to $1,500 locally, but it'd be very nice, lit, high-end, meets all the FAA criteria. So if you'd like.
And we talked before about location of that windsock as well. Is that the right location for it? Because it's not very visible from the air today.
Yeah, and it's, we just had a conversation, I think what you might find is with the new one that's a little bit bigger and also lit, that it may be advantageous to keep it in the same spot, because there's no light pollution or anything, so intuitively your folks who've been using the airport will know to look over there, but I think with the new system, that being in the same spot will probably find it to be good.
Okay.
And with that price, we can check back in on that if there's, if somebody, we'll check in one more time on that before doing anything with it. But that would probably, so if the authority would like to approve that, basically what we're approving is us investigating prices, coordinating with Rob and county folks, whether they would front that like the beacon. Same time frame for reimbursements, probably in July. And we gather that information, and then if everybody checks out with everybody, then we can do the same thing.
Don, does that require a motion or?
I don't know that requires a motion, just to go get the information, and you'll bring it back to our next meeting.
Yeah, if you'd like to do that, you could do something like make a motion that as long as it's under a certain dollar amount, you approve it, and then if we do get the numbers and if the commissioners are okay, then you don't end up. Because and the reason I'm saying that is because you've got a reimbursement likely coming around July, that will have the beacon in it. If you wait too long to take action, you may miss that cycle, and the reimbursement's so far off that it may be detrimental to make.
And what number would that be? What do you estimate this is?
I'd say if you made a decision, or you gave, I don't know if you give Don the power to make that decision, or if it's under $1,500 local share, that might be a way to do it.
Don, I'm good with that if you are.
Yeah.
That makes perfect
Put
sense to
that
me.
before I have a motion.
Make a motion that we accept it.
Second the motion.
All right.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, we'll do the legwork, just like the beacon, we'll keep everybody up to speed. Maybe the price is not conducive, it's not favorable, and we'll just look to pick that up in the future.
If the numbers work out, Kenny won't have a problem with it. If it does, I'll take it out of Phil's salary. It's a wash in the lake.
Can't go lower than zero. But, so anyway, you did an excellent job with the beacon on that. This is probably gonna be about the same thing. So we'll communicate just like that, where the arc is, and likely same time once you pull, if everything worked out and you pulled the trigger on it, the delivery time and installation, all that probably similar. So anyway, there you go. So that's a way to work past that. Also, the state aviation system plan update is underway. Send all the airports questionnaires. Randy did a great job of, you didn't actually get yours, but we got our hands on yours, and then we worked with Randy and got it filled out, and all the information's turned in, and you're in great shape on that thing. So, and the only other things that I have are probably related to something that you might be talking about.
Well, let's just
Go right to it.
I know that would be under new business, but let's go ahead and move into that, so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And does everybody have copies of that?
I'll pass out
Okay.
a copy.
So basically, this is related to the horseshoe, and we've been meeting with several folks. Ed's Don sent some folks that we've talked to and given information. Robert Keller is here this evening. He was the first one to define a layout, and actually, you see in here, we're projecting it's kind of the lease lines that would be where his would border. It's preliminary layout, so there could be some adjusting by a few feet, not hundreds of feet. But this is something that the Atlantic Coast Conservancy is interested in pursuing once the lease is in place. And we're working with them to make sure that would meet all the FAA standards and function like we want it to function. So if there's
Okay.
anything else you want to add?
Just the other piece of it is, of course, this is on the part of the horseshoe that, FAA has not given us the grant on yet, so it is still a development authority, piece of property, so, development authority approved this Friday, and so really what we need to, with the condition that airport authority is the one who, administratively looks out for the lease.
And then whenever that land is transferred over, they'll simply transfer the lease to the airport authority side.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah. Right. So really, the email I sent out, of the lease, the draft of the lease, this morning, to you, is what we need to approve just in form today, because this will be, what the development authority uses to execute for the lease. There were a couple of minor corrections from what we sent out. I think paragraph 5 and like 9 or 14, there was a form that should have been from, two of those. And if you'll look at the paragraph 5, the second sentence, 18 months from the expiration of the feasibility study, that should be expiration, or the signing
18 months from the execution of the
of the execution of the lease, not from the feasibility study.
That makes better sense.
Yeah. So those were minor changes, and we're just asking that this body tonight approves that form of lease.
And one other thing to keep in mind, the rules and regulations of the airport that you have enacted and that you will periodically update, this lease is subordinate to those rules and regulations. So whenever you make a change to the rules, the lease automatically is subject to whatever change you make. You don't have to go back and change all the leases at that time. Just to get
And was that language captured there? Because that was my question for you.
I think it is at the top of page 2, and I don't know that, I think your paragraph's number a little differently than mine, but.
Okay.
But I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, top of page 2 is really the second paragraph, which is really that sentence.
I think the others are worded for.
Maybe all different. Yeah, but I see the rules and regulations. Okay, it does any subsequent amendments. That's what I was concerned about. Also, a question about the current airworthiness certificates further down on that same page.
And I think that's a good comment, I was talking earlier. And I think they would then be, if they're uninsurable, basically, I guess then they're covered as contracts as far as being subject to the lease.
Okay.
But I think what you're saying is we're not going to require insurance or something they can't. That's-
Well, if it's not airworthy, you know, there's a derelict airplane out there that has been not paying its rent for quite some time. I think we talked at one point about seizure, not seizure, but abandonment and foreclosure on that. And that's obviously not an insured airplane. But there are things that are going to lapse in their airworthiness. I know there's a couple planes on the field right now that their annual inspection has not been completed by the 12-month period that it was required in. So the airplane currently has a current registration, but it is not an airworthy airplane.
Are they current in their lease payments?
They are currently payments.
So
So it really doesn't matter, but and they're still insured, the airplane is still insured. So it's a technical term there, I just didn't want us to get caught up in some argument of, well, my annual is expired, therefore my plane's not airworthy, therefore I don't have to provide insurance. So that was my concern.
let me make sure I'm understanding. Are you looking for the mechanism to evict a tenant if they have an uninsured airplane in their hangar that are still current on their lease payments?
If it's uninsured and in that hangar, what's the risk to the county? If there's a fire or something, and it burns down the hangars or 3 hangars and damages airplanes and they're uninsured at that point, frankly, I would not want them in that hangar.
I don't know that we would have any liability to the owner of the hangar or the airplane.
But if I'm in the hangar next door with my airplane, I want to know that
I think that'd be
they're insured.
their hangar lease owner, because the way I'm hoping the leases are interpreted, or you don't, the tenant has exclusive responsibility for what is going on within the tenant's domain. And
Right.
So if there is a fire, yes, the landlord might be, may initially be involved in that lawsuit. I don't know what our.
They might be, and my concern is if, the liability side of my insurance, I carry 2 million smooth liability coverage. If I burn down all those T hangers, it will probably rebuild and replace those airplanes. But if there's an uninsured airplane sitting next to mine that then burns down those hangers, my insurance will cover it and then go after these guys, but it's just gonna become a challenge for the county to get the hangars rebuilt and all of the property replaced.
I think that's gonna be covered under $1 million of liability insurance.
If it's in place. But if it's not insured,
So the liability is separate, requirement is
from the
separate
requirement of the airplane.
from the airport,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, as long as we require that that insurance remain in place, regardless of whether the airplane is airworthy or not.
I'll go back and look, but I believe.
As I read it, I just.
They
I
are
struggle to
separate
interpret
paragraphs.
That's what I.
But you can have an airplane that is not airworthy, but it still has an airworthiness certificate. So it's two
Correct.
different things.
That's,
It's two different things.
that's why I'm getting a little lost.
I've got several of them that are not airworthy, that still have airworthiness certificates.
Yes.
So there's a
So
difference
if we
in
can,
terminology.
look into that a little more, I make a motion that we accept this as a draft, accepting there may be some minor revisions to the document, but I make a motion that we accept this as a
Second
document.
motion.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, let me get some guidance from the board. The development authority, as Don has informed you, has voted to execute a lease with the proposed Atlantic Coast Conservancy properties. I've got some changes that Ed had given me this afternoon that I want to incorporate into it. Once I do that, are we good to go? Do you want me to send it to y'all, or because the development authority is basically saying they want y'all to approve the form of the lease, and then once you're fine with the form of the lease, then they're going to go ahead and execute it with this tenant.
I would suggest that it be emailed to the group and we give an email approval on it. So it's expedient and.
And then we don't have to wait another month.
Right.
That'd be great.
Is that acceptable to the
I'll try
board?
to get that out and the board will get that placed. Thank y'all for looking at it.
All right, maybe going backwards just a little bit, back to old business. Randy, you didn't talk about our triple wides any. You want to give us an update? I understand they're only leaking when it rains.
What could one? I was gonna defer that to the commissioner's report, but.
Why do I always get the sticky jobs?
Because you got a sticky trailer on
I'm
my lot.
always a day late and a dollar short. We missed it 3 years ago when we were dealing with illegal aliens. But anyway, we got a triple wide sitting out there. They're trying to get it back together. The issue I've got is no work, no money. So I don't pay till it's done or we haul it off. That's pretty well it works out.
They're gonna put, the latest information I had was that the third section needs to be jacked about another inch and shimmed again. There's gonna be a new roof put on it and vinyl siding wrapped, and it will in fact have a front porch. The back will have a handicap accessible ramp, and then we'll start on our remodel. Christmas is a good time frame to ask the next question. That's about right.
That's about it. I mean, I've got, the biggest thing was to get it off the recreation center. Granted, I appreciate y'all taking it over there, but now, we're gonna have to take some time to get the thing up and going. But I'm not paying him until he gets a job, no work, no money. So, I'm keeping that in escrow. When the time comes, he gets it done, or we have to eventually hire somebody else to finish it up. So, where we're at.
Did everything dry up pretty good, gentlemen?
It is in the process of drying, yes.
Yeah, he's got it tentatively sealed without that, putting that new roof on. We're not gonna put the trusses back on it. And, but we're gonna lower the pitch wind load down on that thing. He's got it all worked out. We can just get him to get back over and finish it up. Other than that, everything's copacetic. Yeah.
Good deal, thank you. T-hanger update, last meeting we looked at, proposal on total cost and financing of that. I have since then had discussions with one of the banks in town regarding financing that. Of course, that's gonna have to be a vehicle that goes through the Development Authority, with the commissioners, issuing an intergovernment agency agreement with the 1 mil pledge for that. So, that part is in process. There's information that's still being gathered, but everything is going as we thought it would and getting very positive feedback in that regard. So hopefully, by next month, we've got some more information for you. All right, Commissioner, did you have any other remarks?
No, let's keep it rolling, you're doing a good job.
All right, well, I was at the end. Unless anybody had anything else? Is that a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, next month's meeting, I'm not gonna be here on the second Monday. Y'all are welcome to go ahead and meet them, won't hurt my feelings at all, if you wanna keep it on that day.
If we will have any update on the T-hangers, it may be worthwhile, otherwise I think that that's the only time-sensitive issue that I have right now.
I should be back that Wednesday of that week, but then I'm leaving the next week after that.
Actually, I'll be in Europe that week as well, so.
I'll be working.
You can only reschedule one of your regular meetings a year. I don't know if you already have or what.
But you cancel or.
Can we cancel?
Cancel it and then set us a call meeting.
All right.
Let's cancel for
Everybody,
next month.
we'll cancel it, I'll send that out. And if we have to have a call meeting afterwards, we'll do so.
Excellent.
All right, thank you very much.